I made a lot of monsters. Like, a lot of monsters. But I wanted to make something different. Something scarier. Something better. But how do you come up with such a creature? Honestly, I don't know. So let's just make it up as we go.
In the autumn of 1873, when the leaves turned copper and the wind carried whispers of winter, there came upon the village of Ashford a terror that no man could have foreseen. It began, as these things often do, with the most ordinary of creatures, the humble chicken. Thomas Blackwood had kept fowl for 3 generations on his farm at the edge of the village, where the forest grew thick and the old stones lay half buried in the earth. A man of 40 years, with calloused hands and an honest face, he tended his flock with dedication. It was on a cold Tuesday morning that Thomas noticed the first sign of wrongness. One of his hens had not come out to feed. He found her in the corner of the coop, her body trembling, her eyes filmed over with a milky substance. Her flesh seemed to pulse beneath her feathers, as though something moved within. Just a fever, Thomas told himself, though his hands shook as he carried her away from the others. But by nightfall, 3 more birds showed the same symptoms. Their bodies convulsed, their beaks opened and closed soundlessly, and beneath their skin, something writhed and grew. Thomas called for the village doctor, old Henry Brennan, who examined the afflicted birds with growing horror. "I've never seen its like," Brennan admitted. "Their tissues are changing, transforming into something else. You must destroy them, Thomas. Burn them tonight." But Thomas, foolish with pride and fear of losing his livelihood, could not bring himself to do it. That night, as the moon rose pale above the Blackwood farm, the transformation completed itself. The afflicted chickens' bodies elongated, their necks stretching impossibly. Their heads swelled grotesquely, flesh rippling and reforming into something that bore only the faintest resemblance to a bird. Their beaks split and widened, revealing rows of needle-like growths within. And their eyes opened wide, bright and aware with an intelligence that no chicken should possess. Thomas heard the screaming first, not from the transformed birds, but from the others in the coop. By the time he reached the hen house with his lantern, the door hung torn from its hinges. Inside, the floor was painted crimson. Feathers floated in the air like snow. And of his flock of 30 birds, only scattered pieces remained. The transformed ones were gone. The village learned of the horror at dawn. Every farm within 5 miles reported the same. Their fowl either dead or missing. And always those terrible tracks, like a bird's, but far too large, leading toward the forest. The affliction spread like wildfire. Farms 20 miles distant reported the same symptoms. Then 40 miles, then 100. The birds would sicken, transform, and disappear into the wilderness, leaving only death behind. The creatures grew bolder, appearing at village edges after dark, their elongated forms silhouetted against the moonlight. Children were kept indoors. Men carried rifles even in daylight. Thomas Blackwood, consumed by guilt, tracked the creatures obsessively. He finally discovered where they gathered, an old barn deep in the forest. He told no one. In his pride and shame, he went alone. What he found would haunt him for the brief remainder of his days. Dozens of creatures huddled in the darkness, but they were not hiding. They were still changing, growing. Some walked upright now, their legs thickened, their heads swollen large enough to contain something approximating a brain. Worse than their appearance was their behavior. They moved with purpose, with coordination. They seemed to communicate, beaks clicking in rhythmic patterns, movements synchronized. They were not animals anymore. They were something new. And then one of them saw him. Thomas ran, crashing through the forest. Behind him came the measured pursuit of hunters. He burst into the village screaming warnings, and the men took up arms. They returned with torches and guns, determined to end the nightmare. But the barn was empty. The creatures had gone. The attacks began that night. The creatures descended upon Ashford from every direction, killing not for food, but with methodical efficiency. The villagers fought back, but by dawn, half of Ashford lay in ruins. The survivors fled, carrying tales of horror with them, and the affliction continued to spread, farm to farm, town to town, moving faster now, as though guided by collective intelligence. Dr. Brennan, in his final report before his own disappearance, wrote, "It is not a disease, it is transformation. Evolution compressed into days. And it is deliberate. 10 years have passed since that autumn. The creatures now number in the millions. They have learned to hide, to wait, to plan. They take no more than they need, allowing humans to breed more chickens, which in turn become infected and join their ranks. We thought ourselves the masters of creation, farming animals for our benefit, but the affliction has taught us a terrible lesson. The creatures tend us now, as we once tended them. They allow us to live, to breed, to prosper, but only so that we might provide them with more hosts. Thomas Blackwood lived for 2 more years after that night, muttering the same words over and over. I should have burned them. But the truth, discovered too late, was that the affliction had been spreading for months before anyone noticed, seeded deliberately across the countryside by the first transformed creatures. It was never a disease at all. It was an invasion, planned and executed by an intelligence we never suspected existed, using our own livestock as vessels. And so I write this account by candlelight, listening to the scratching sounds upon my roof. The scratching has stopped now. The door handle is turning. They have come for me at last.